Today is May 27th, and I was almost mugged tonight. And that was a scary experience. Obviously, I'm here. I'm not hurt in any way. I'm bundled up because it's freezing cold tonight. So this is what happened. I had just left Darlene at her hotel, and I was heading back up to the house. It was about 11 o'clock at night. It's a road that I walked up many, many times, and I was going up it. There's kind of a darkish section, and these two guys were coming down. I was on my side, they were on their side, and the minute we got close to each other, one of the guys stepped directly in my path and made eye contact. I noticed them earlier that they were looking at me. The other guy flanked him, and the first guy, the front guy, asked me for a sole, one soul, like he was begging. But I could just tell it was a bad situation, and they both came towards me and backed me up against the wall. And I just let one foot come back, put my hands up, and they were right here in my space, right here in front of me. One here, one here. And I just said, no! And I pushed both my hands forward at his face, and I feel like I hit him so hard. And the other guy started to walk up, and I said, go away, go away, go away. And I just kept hitting and hitting and hitting until I was away from the wall. And then I turned around and I bolted down just some crazy stone slippery steps. But my feet stayed under me and my shoes stayed firm to the ground, and I ran. When I got to the bottom of the steps, just as I turned around to see if they were still following me, and I didn't see them anywhere. So then I rapidly walked down Tanta Pata, which is sort of the main strip in San Blas above the fountain. And there were lots of other people, and it's a main drag, and I felt a lot more confident. And then there's the main road that goes up to Jardins del Inca, and I took that. And my first thought was that I would go to Rastabar and call Pepe and tell him to come and get me and escort me home. But I was so activated that when I turned, I just walked right by Rastabar, and I didn't make it too much further, and there was Pepe walking in the other direction. And he's like, hola, Athena. And I looked at him and I said, oh my God, I'm so glad to see you at this moment. And I told him that I was almost mugged, and that I used my voice and I used my hands, and I protected myself. And so he just turned around and walked me home. On the way home, we waited for Carlos to come. He was getting a cable from his house, and how Pepe ended up being right there in that moment is amazing. But that I'll get to later. So then Carlos comes out with the cable, and we both walk back to the house together. And now we're really close to the house and entering Jardins del Inca. And I'm telling them the story of what happened. And Pepe or Carlos, I can't remember who, asked me, what did the guys look like? Or did you know them? Or had you seen them before? And I said, no, I have no idea. And just then, two guys were walking in the other direction. And it was those two guys. It was the two guys. The guy I hit in the face, which I actually hit him so hard, I thought I probably broke his nose. his face looked a little swollen, but I don't think I broke his nose, which was unfortunate. But I recognized the hat and the clothing. I made a mental note the minute I had to put my arms forward. I looked at exactly what I was hitting. So to see them walk back and they, bumped shoulders with Pepe, and Pepe recognized them. And the minute they walked by, I was like, it was those two guys. It was those two guys right there. And they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm positive it was those two guys that tried to mug me. And Pepe turned around and had some words with them, and Carlos and I kept walking to the house, and Pepe recognized them, and they're known for doing that. And Pepe also said that I thought it was amazing that I saw them a second time, like what the holy fuck. And he said they know where you walk, and you're a target. Oh. So I have that little thing to keep in mind, that I am a target and I need to be watchful. Now, how Pepe ended up in that point at that moment was a crazy series of events, a coincidence. He and Carlos were going to get a cable he needed for his phone. And so they were walking to Carlos's house, and they came to this crossroads where there's a fountain. And Carlos's house is right around the corner, and Pepe just thought, you know what, I'll keep walking down and I'll go to a liquor store and I'll get myself a little drink, and then come back and meet Carlos, and then we'll go. And as he was walking down, that's when I was walking up. And it was in that coincidence of a moment, in that magic that is Cusco. There he was. And I was going to call him. When I was walking down Tanta Pata, I thought to myself, I'm going to call Pepe and I'm going to have him meet me at Rasta Bar. But I had so much adrenaline going that I just walked right by it. And by the time I realized that I needed to call him, there he was. There he was. Athena! Buenas noches. Oh, Pepe, I'm so glad to see you in this moment. And I told him what happened. And then we walked back and met Carlos. And then here's the two guys coming back. And they were looking for me to be walking alone again. Now, I have to give a serious amount of credit to Impact Personal Safety, because every single skill that I learned in that workshop is what I used to protect myself. I saw the two guys coming. I always notice people when they're walking towards me. These two guys looked like they were really drunk. They both made eye contact with me. So I knew I was a mark. It wasn't just the normal buenas noches, yeah, ¿cómo estás? I wasn't. It was, they looked. And then they looked away. And then when the guy stepped in my path and the other guy flanked him, I didn't even have to say what's going on. I knew what was going on. My whole body knew what was going on. And when they circled around to get my back up against a wall, no, I was not going to wait to see what was going to happen. It was self-defense time. And I made sure that I was ready. And he was totally in my personal zone. And no! And then kept hitting and screaming and then running. And I have to thank Impact Personal Safety, because those are the skills that I learned in that course. And I think every person, definitely every woman, but I think every person should take Impact Personal Safety, because it makes a difference. It makes a difference in your confidence level to to protect yourself, and it makes a difference when you actually have to. And I did tonight. And I didn't get a chance to practice against two assailants, but I, in the course, but tonight I had that. I had two assailants, and and I did it. I did it. I protected myself, and I'm here.